All right. Hello, everyone. Hi, hi, hi. If you can hear me, let me just see your thumbs up again. Shout out to everyone who joined early. We met a couple of minutes ago, and thank you for your patience in just being here to get started. There's almost about 20 of us on the call already, so I will just dive right into it because I know like you all can't wait to get started. Um, Again, the goal of this, just like Isaac has said, thank you, Isaac, for the intro, by the way, is really to help you go from all of those things in your head, put it out, and help you get some clarity. At least go to help you go from point A to point B. This will be recorded, and I'll send you the replay right after the session as well, so you can like go back and go over it as many times as possible. So without further ado, I just want to do a pulse check for how we're feeling in the room today. So, how exactly are you feeling? I know some of you, most of you actually, have sent in your questions. We got quite a number of questions. So, shout out to everyone who felt comfortable in just sharing exactly how they're feeling. Love that already. This is going to be as practical as possible. And going to be as honest as possible. I'll share my own career experiences, what I basically help people walk through as well, and just answer your questions in every single way that I can. But just so that I get a sense of exactly how you're feeling today, can you just tell me how exactly you're feeling? Are you feeling stuck? Are you feeling not confident? We're all at different career stages, right? Some people are in early career, mid career, and so on. So I just want to get a sense of how you're feeling in the room. It's an interactive session, so I need to hear and see. And you never know. As you answer my questions, maybe I might just throw in a little gift for you. You never know. So this is why you need to chat and share with us. So how exactly are you feeling today? Are you like exploring, plotting your escape, ready to grow? What exactly? Okay, okay. So some people are feeling stuck, some people are feeling not confident, some people are exploring, some people are feeling stuck. Some people are ready to grow. Some people are feeling confused. Okay, okay, okay. Let's see. Are we getting more? Some people are also feeling stuck and not confident. Okay. Some people are ready to grow. Love it. People are plotting their escape. Okay, okay, okay. So let me just assure every single one of you that what you're feeling is not out of place and you're not alone, as you can see. There are other people like you who are also feeling stuck. There are also other people who are not feeling confident. So whether you're in your early career, you're in your mid career, or your senior career, this is actually for you. And as someone who has switched careers 5 times, I really know what it feels like to stand at those crossroads where you're wondering, should I, can I, what am I doing with my life? Don't worry, I asked that question a lot of times. I've asked this a lot of times. So let me share what we'll cover today. We'll go over like the 4 pillars of a fulfilling career and really what you should be prioritizing at different career stages of your life, how you should pivot without starting from scratch, how you can gain clarity so that even when those questions come your way, you have something to hold on to. I'm a big fan of being very practical, and I want you all to be able to live here and have something that you can rely on, even without having to talk to me again. Although I would love that you come and talk to me again. And so we'll cover all of these things. And if you are ready, 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 let me just, see that high five. I'm such a big fan of The Office. So this is one of my favorite chips. Cool. Yeah. All right. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. So first, let me share with you my own journey. So you've heard me say, or you even heard Isaac say, and you would have heard or read if you're following me on social media, you would have seen me say things like, hey, I've never held the same job twice. And that's true. I've actually never held the same job title twice. I've actually switched jobs 5 times. So I started out my career as a front end developer. at Jumia over 12 years ago. And just a few years after that, well, actually, just less than a year into that job, I moved into consulting. I moved to PwC as a management consultant and spent over 3 years on there. And then I took a gap year, went for my MBA. And instead of going back to management consulting, I decided to toe the startup line and I became an operations manager for a startup. Right after that, about 2 or 3 years into that as well, went on to become a business transformation manager for an energy company. And a few years after that as well, again, I then moved and thought, but I think my transition from business transformation manager to growth and partnerships is probably the most insane I've done because I was in energy. I had gone away from tech for such a long time and I was trying to pivot back into tech. But this is actually one of my most transformational ones because in 3 months, I landed this role and I've changed many roles even in that particular job since then. But right now, most of my work is around growth and partnerships. So this is over the span of 10 years. All of these things I did. So this is also to say, even if you are trying to switch your career, you're not alone, you're not foolish, you're not confused, right? I want you to really, really start repositioning the story that you tell yourself. That's very important as you navigate your career switch. So you're not alone. I switch careers. You want to switch, or you're trying to figure out something else, but know that what's the question, what am I doing in my life? You'll figure that one out. Okay. Um, Super. So before we get into any tips, frameworks, whatnot and whatnot, I want you to take some time to answer this question. Basically, if you had nothing to be afraid of, what would you do? You can feel free to share in the chat or you can just write it in your notebook. I mean, if we have 1 or 2 or 3 people share in the chat, that would be helpful. But if you had nothing in the world to be afraid of, what would you do? Sleep all day. I promise you, you will not. You will not sleep all day. You will teach. Okay. You put hands into different sectors. Okay, okay, okay. You be a musician and a product manager. Love it. Okay, so this is kind of where I was a couple of years ago, and this is where I was before I switched back into tech. And I took some time out to write in my notes app. I wrote down a couple of things that I wanted to do. Like a lot of people here, I'm actually also multi passionate. I want to do several different things on different business days, right? And my friends and family members are tired of me hearing that, oh, today I want to do this and today I want to do this. But you know what? I don't even care. I'm not trying to put myself into a box. I'm not trying to define myself by one particular thing. I think about myself as like a tree where I have a stem, I have a bark, I have leaves. I am multidimensional, right? I have fruits, I have all of these things. And so for me, I'm all about like pouring every single talent that God has given me into the world. Now, here's the thing. While there are things that that you would want to do, not everything has to be a career. So I want you to start getting comfortable with that truth, knowing fully well that you don't necessarily have to turn every single thing that you feel passionate about into an actual career. So put that at the back of your mind and let that be something that carries you. Now, when I wrote those things in my notes app, this was 4 years ago. It's been 4 years since then, and what has happened is in several different ways, I've touched on all of these things that I wanted to do. For example, one of those things I wanted to do was to teach. This is a form of teaching. Can you hear me? Martina says she can't hear anything. Is there anybody else who's having trouble hearing me? Yes, no. Yes, you can hear. Okay, Martina, it might be you. ID, can you please let Martina know that she needs to log out and log back in? Awesome.
Okay, I
Thank
would. Martina just probably needs to step
you.
in and step out.
She can't hear us, so we need to type it. Okay, so this is all just to say that look, you might have all of these interests, but one, you don't have to do everything at the same time. Two, It is really just a compass. And that's what I meant when I said, look, I want to be able to help you to make sense of all of these feelings in your head, and build something that is life aligned and meaningful. So start off with actually documenting that thing that you want to do, because until you try it, you won't rest. But don't overthink it like it has to be a career, right? There are many things that I do that are not necessarily career related. For example, one of the things that I wrote at that time was to have fun. Because honestly, I was just very, locked in and serious. I really was all about locking in. But locking in is just going to stress your life if you're not sprinkling a little bit of fun into it, right? I have fun. Fun is obviously not a career. Do you get? So I have fun in my own way, right? So all of that is just to tell you that yes, we spend a good chunk of time in our jobs, but our jobs do not define us. But ultimately, it's important that you find a job that is closely aligned to the things that bring you joy. The things that you are not afraid of are the things that will bring you joy. So you want to find areas and opportunities to do that. I can give you another example. I said one of the things I wanted to do was to teach. So it does mean that even in my day job, as long as I get the opportunity to pass on knowledge to someone, for example, if I teach you how to use VLOOKUP on Google Sheet or Excel, it is something I have taught. Do you get? So sometimes it's so simple, but because we have blown it up in our minds, it seems like this very elaborate thing, and you start to constantly feel this tug. And it's that tug that I want you to make some sense of as you navigate your career. So I just want you to pay a little bit more attention. I'll spend the next like 7 minutes trying to wrap it up, and then we'll just get right into questions. Okay, so now that we're clear about all the things that we want to do, and it's clear that sometimes it has nothing to do with even our day job, I want you to use this as a foundation and a framework to help you navigate things as you move your career forward. So, the ideal career actually should have four key pillars, and understanding this really helps you to make more intentional choices about where you are right now and probably where you want to go. The core thing is your job may not always give you all of these four at the same time, but the core thing you need to look out for is growth. Growth fuels everything else. Just the same way, if you remember from like our biology days, if you planted a seed and that seed was not growing, you will not feel happy. When they say bring it back and they're showing like how tall the bean seedling has grown and all of that, everybody is happy to see their own thing grow. So that's kind of how it is with your life as well. So the most important thing you want to be asking yourself is, am I growing? Am I growing? Am I growing? But that said, let me explain what all of these four things really mean. The first one is learning. This is essentially about growth and mastery because it's so much more than titles. It doesn't matter whether you are the assistant junior project manager or whether you are the VP of whatever, whatever. If you're not growing, you're not growing. Continuous learning is so, so, so important. And this actually helps you create long term career security. The second thing is earning. Does your income like reflect your effort and potential? And I know that this is a very, very nuanced question because most of us come from like an environment where we're grossly underpaid, right? So I can understand that when you think about this compared to what people are earning in the West and whatnot, it can often feel like you're behind. But let me just assure you that that is not exactly the case. And you shouldn't overthink that. If you feel underpaid, let's benchmark against what exactly is going on, not just in the overall industry, but maybe in Nigeria or whatever country that you're in. So think about it. The core thing here is what you're earning. Can you support your lifestyle and future goals? We're not just saying, hey, I want to be earning 100,000 yearly, but let's say you're earning 100,000 monthly. Is that good enough? Is that helpful? Let's start from there. The third thing is environment. Does your workplace actually support your well-being? Like, is the culture, is it healthy? Is leadership respectful? Because workplaces that actually value collaboration, respect, and well-being, they will always, always, always make it easy for you to grow. And ultimately, they do so much for your self esteem where you're not constantly questioning yourself and second guessing yourself and wondering why you're here. All of that, these are all the things that contribute to us having a sane career or a sane job. And the fourth one is meaning. Everybody on earth, has some sort of thing that they want to do or that they feel like they are called to do. So you want to make sure that somehow your work also matters to you. You're not just doing this for the paycheck. Does it align with your values? Are you making an impact and a contribution in the way that you think you should? So this is why it's important that any job that you're doing, you understand the overall goal, the overall mission, the overall impact that they're trying to make in the world, so that you can connect your day to day to that and you can think, hey, look, just by doing ABC, I was able to help this, which helped this, right? That's exactly what we mean by meaning. But many times people don't even understand or see the company mission. And so it's often hard to understand, why am I even doing this in the first place? If I had to take this thing I'm doing, for example, I can think about it in terms of workforce development. I can think about it in terms of the SDG, like the Sustainable Development Goals, where I want to ensure that people have equitable workplaces or they find meaning at work. That is a particular SDG that we're trying to hit. So if I think about it and I can say, if I taught 1,000 people yearly, I'm contributing A, B, C, or X, Y, Z. That's kind of what we're saying here. Think about what exactly it is that your company is trying to do, or the mission that you want to solve, and chase companies that are looking for that. So you may not always have all these four at the same time, but in every season, please try to have two. I'll also share with you what you should be looking out for at different career stages of your life. So if you're in your early career, and I've revamped this a little bit, when you were feeling this, I probably said your early career was like 0 to 3 years. But let's say that less than 4 years. What you should prioritize is on learning. Like, let them throw you into all sorts of projects. Let them throw you into all sorts of initiatives. Let them throw you into all sorts of programs, because this is your foundation season. You are building. You need to be learning, you need to be building transferable skills. You need to understand exactly what it looks like to work in teams. Because just like the foundation of a house, if it is not strong enough, it's going to crumble sooner or later. You don't want to be that person that grows and is just a thought leader but has no depth. This is the point where you start to really, really, really hone in on a particular skill, where you say, you know what, I like performance marketing. Let me understand what it means to convert, to run ads, to write copies that scale or that sell. You start to think deeper and deeper and deeper and focus so much on what you're learning. But even beyond the technical skills, build all the soft skills around it as well. The power skills that help you stay in jobs, problem solving, communication, project ownership. This is so much more than just having a job title, right? So I said learning and environment. Now, for environment, where you work is also as important as the places that you find yourself. So, for example, are you in communities? Are you connecting with people that you already admire the work that they do? Do you have role models that you're looking out to? Those early access to those networks, they will compound over time, right? The people that I started my career with were all VPs and directors now. Now it's just a matter of a phone call away. This is the essence of building those networks at that stage. So your peers of today, they are the CEOs of tomorrow. Think about it that way. So the environment that you either find yourself in or put yourself into, because sometimes maybe you don't know what a job is going to give you, but ultimately you do know that being in certain spaces are helpful. So this is why going for events is important and things like that, right? So focus on environments where you can absorb knowledge. It doesn't only have to be about your job, but also communities, events, networks, and things like that. Now, for your mid-career, think about it this way. The people here, this is what you need to be doing: learning, earning, and meaning. At this point, you are in your super era. This is where you should be calling the shots, refining your strengths, and positioning yourself for like global opportunities. You should be really earning well and doing work that feels meaningful to you. But make sure that you're developing expertise. So at this stage, some people start to lead teams, some people start to lead bigger projects and things like that. So if you've been working for 5 to 10 years, these are the kind of things that you actually need to start prioritizing, right? And then senior career. So this is like for people like me that have been working for over 10 years. Meaning, earning, environment, those are the things that matter. Clarity and alignment matters more. Because at this point you are building a legacy, right? You want to start to give back, for example. So you should be doing work that actually compounds you. This is the point where you probably need a bit more flexibility in your life. That's why that thing about environment is important. So Think about it this way: what stage am I in, and what am I getting? Like, use this lever and ask yourself, am I learning? Am I earning? Am I in the right environment? And am I making meaning? Then, if you say, you know what, where am I in my career right now? And use that to really identify what you need to be doing next. I need to be in an environment that allows me to do A, B, C, or X, Y, Z. Okay. All right. So I'll skip all of this because it's pretty much most of what I've been saying. If you're in your early career, focus on like experimenting. You're just building your skills at this point. If you're in your mid career, the thing about experimenting is you also quickly know what you want and don't want. For example, I started out my career not just in front end development. I started out my career in networking, what we call the, I don't know, subnet. I've forgotten a good chunk of those things now because clearly I was not interested. But I wrote about 2 out of 3 certifications, and I quickly realized once I got on the job that, you know what, I did not want to do it. I wanted to do something else. I wanted to be speaking English like this. I did not want to be dealing with devices. It's important that you also identify what you want for yourself. That's how I quickly removed myself from it. But if I did not experiment, if I didn't do it, if I didn't go and do my IT in that place, I wouldn't have known. I would have gone all the way to becoming like a CCIE, which is what I was doing, Cisco certifications at the time. So please, experimenting is important here. um Mid-career, at this point you might be wanting a pivot, you might be feeling burnt out. That's fine. Remember, at the beginning you've seen that there are other people like you that are feeling a certain way. You might even be questioning your direction. It's fine. But what is not fine is not moving, not taking a step. So you're not starting over. You already have some experience, and all the things that you've learned, they will come in handy. Throw anything at me now, and I can definitely work it out. Why? Because my foundation was in consulting, where today I'm dealing with manufacturing companies, tomorrow I'm dealing with plants, next tomorrow I'm dealing with chemicals, the next one I'm dealing with investment banking. So this is about like repositioning and reframing your perspective at this point, right? A senior career, this is all about like leadership transitions. You're probably trying to give back at this stage or whatever, but this is just a general thing. It doesn't mean that everybody's career always takes this path, and this is why I hope that I can answer like the specific context that you have and really help you go from point A to point B, depending on whatever career stage that you're in or whatever that you're in. Bear in mind, I haven't put this in terms of age, because you can be 30 and just starting your career. This has nothing to do with our age at this point. And I also just want to remind you that you're not late, you're not behind. You're towing your own path, you're navigating your own journey. And that's just what it is. So I hope that like helps you start to reposition most of the things in your mind. I do want to talk about how to switch careers. So let me know if I should talk through that first before we start the questions, or if we should start into the questions now and then just take it towards the last 30 minutes. I don't know how the run polls here, so just give me like yes now or
Live
something.
in the chat.
Yeah, because I really don't know. I don't know what to do with this. Um, as you
Well,
can
I mean,
tell.
someone is asking if they get the slide deck.
If you get this, like, you pay me for that one. No. This is intellectual property. This is intellectual property. Okay, let's talk through it. Okay, cool. Okay. I always say I'll take 7 minutes, and before I know it, I'm going on and on and on. This is what I mean about what do you want to do? You can see I love this. I love teaching. I love to share knowledge. So find those things as well. Okay, let's talk about switching careers. I'm timing myself. What's the real barrier when it comes to switching careers? Like, is there anyone here who's actually considering switching the careers? And what is the barrier that you're facing? Don't worry, we'll get to the point where we can start to chat now. Samuel, do you want to just chat or do you want to talk through it? Samuel, you can unmute.
Okay, so I learned product management, but I find it a bit boring because it's meetings and meetings. But I presently enjoy business operations because it's like the main engine of everything.
So, what's the
So
barrier?
while product manager can do the meetings, it's the business operations person that will tell you whether it's tenable or not.
Okay, okay. So, the barrier, I'm seeing a couple of things in the chat: lack of clarity, internship to know if it's a valid path. Okay. Nandap, I think you have your hand up as well. Namiap, I'm sorry. Please.
Hi, okay. I've actually been in the bank for 13 years now,
Mhm.
12 years customer service. So I've just moved to marketing. But I'm doing my master's currently in disaster risk management. I'd like to pivot to that direction. That's NGOs, international NGOs, that kind of thing. So
So what's the barrier?
right now I'm just doing, sorry.
So what's the barrier? What's the real problem here?
Yeah, it's a new um challenge for me. So I'm just trying to navigate.
Like how?
I'm just caught. I'm caught. I'm here. I'm already doing my masters. I'm doing some international internships, remote though,
Mhm.
in line with the disaster risk management. So I don't know. I'm just talking to you because well, it's your field, like pivoting and all of that. So
Yeah.
maybe give me some clarity, advice. I don't know. Just talk to me.
Okay.
I'm telling you my story. Make
Okay.
what you want to do of it.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. 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 So I think I'm right in saying that lack of clarity is the problem here, not lack of skill. But sometimes we often position ourselves as if lack of skill is the problem. We start from what we don't have rather than what we already have. And I'm hoping that we can all take some lesson here in trying to figure out that many times what we need to take us from point A to point B is already within us. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you don't need to learn more. I'm not saying you don't need to build your skills. I'm not saying you don't need to add to your knowledge. But I'm saying that it is not lack of skill. Sometimes it's lack of clarity. And you shouldn't let lack of clarity hold you back. Because think about it, it's like a skill where you now let one take so much precedence over the other that you undermine the skills that you already have, right? So I want you to every single day try to bring back that skill. This is lack of clarity here. This is lack of skill. You already have skill. So make it higher than clarity. Make it higher than the lack of clarity. And I'll show you exactly how to do that here. Because recognizing things is important to change your perspective on how things go. So you might be thinking, I don't know what to choose, I don't know where to begin, blah, 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 blah. I don't know how. The second one is mindset blocks. The things and the stories that we tell ourselves are as powerful as the experiences that we have, as the eventualities that happen to us. So if you're thinking like you need to have everything figured out, some people might be thinking, you know what, I'm not smart enough. I can't pivot into tech. Or like I'm too old. Or like it's too late. I've already done all of this in this. Why do I need to do that? Or I don't even have time to learn. Or like I don't have the right background. Like there's a million and one things you can tell yourself. But every single time these come up, what I want you to start doing is to change it. So if you're thinking, I need to have everything figured out before I apply, tell yourself, I don't need to have everything figured out before I apply. If you're thinking, I'm not smart enough, or like I'm too old, or it's too late, reframe that story. I'm smart enough. I'm not too old. Heck, there are people who have switched careers in their 40s. Rihanna was a musician all the while. And now it's all about Fenty. Because that's just life. You outgrow things. But if she didn't start a music career, it might have been a lot harder for her to get into the skin beauty care industry. So I want you to start appreciating everything that has brought you here. Everything that has led you here. Stop looking at it as a disadvantage. That you spent 12 years in banking is not a disadvantage. There are things you've learned from it. And this is exactly how you need to start looking at it. You're not behind, you're on time because it's your career, it's not mine. So you can't compare your own to mine. You can't look at me and feel like I've arrived because I'm still on my own journey and you don't even know how far my journey is or how close I am to the destination. It's yours. So start to take more ownership about your own journey. So let's figure out how you can switch without like losing your progress and how you can start to reframe some of these things. First, start with your why. Like, why exactly are you trying to switch? For some people, it's more money. For some people, it's more impact. For some people, it's more growth. When I moved from energy to tech, I just wanted more flexibility. The next job paid me the exact same thing. It paid me the exact same thing that I was earning on this job. But what did I want? I didn't want to go to the office every day. I just had a child. I was nursing. It was not convenient. I just wanted to see my child grow. I wanted to be in a place where I'll quickly finish a meeting and I could just come out, kiss my baby, and go back to my meeting. Your why is so important because it helps you stay focused on exactly why you're doing what you're doing. Yes, I know that there would have been reasons on the inside of you, but naming that why is so important. So what is it that you want? Two, do a SWOT analysis. For everybody here, the only thing I can tell you honestly that will help you go from point A to point B is the way that you bridge that gap is to do things. I'm not here to give you advice. I'm here to tell you what to do. But it's up to you if you take that advice. It's up to you if you do the things I'm asking you to do. I spent a whole month doing a skills audit. And I've taken all those questions that I asked myself and put it into a SWOT analysis guide. I'll share it with you how you can get that guide. It's paid because, again, you have to commit to your own growth. This year, I don't even know how many things I paid for on several different areas. For example, there was a time I wanted to lose weight. I wanted to lose mommy weight. I knew that just going to a gym was not going to be enough. I paid through my nose for a trainer. I didn't understand what the hell I was doing, but he helped me. It helped me so much because now I'm so much better for it. She helped me build the discipline, the confidence. So this feels like my accountability partner. So that's what I do. When I pay for things, when I buy things, it is my way of telling myself I am committed to my own success. Whether I'm buying it for 1,000 naira or I'm buying it for 100,000 naira, I am committed to my own success. That's the goal here. So do a SWOT analysis. Because remember what I said, it's not that lack of clarity, lack of skill is the problem. But many times we're not even recognizing our own strengths and our own skills. We're undermining the things that we can do simply because we think it should be something grand. We think it should be something somebody else should help us see. And yes, there are times when people will help you see that. Many people saw my writing long before I saw it. So before I started writing a newsletter, I questioned and questioned and questioned and questioned and questioned. But guess what? As far back as 2017, someone had already told me point blank, you write excellently. Those are the things you start to look out for. So those are the kind of things that I introduced in that SWOT guide, where I help you reflect on a couple of questions that immediately help you see your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and the threats around that you can look out for. Be confident in what you already have, because that is also just as important as you navigate your career journey. Number three, you need to target strategic roles. So based on your skill sets, the things that you've already done, you might not exactly do a 360. For example, when I knew I wanted to move from energy to tech, I thought about all the things I was already doing in this business and transformation role. And the core thing I started to think about is what am I doing now that I can do for somebody else in tech and that I've had the chance to do over the years? That core thing at the time was vendor management. But they don't call it vendor management where I'm trying to go to. They call it partnerships. So I started to reframe the skills that I had already built. When I was in consulting, I was dealing with all sorts of vendors and partners, meetings here and there. I was basically a project manager. So meetings every day to do this, to align, to do. That's already vendor management and partnerships essentially. As long as you are working with somebody else that is outside your team, you're already partnering. And here I was partnering with all different types of companies. But because what I did was after this SWOT analysis, really look at it and try to draw the thread. What have I enjoyed over the years? What have I done? What has been the recurring theme? You can take just one single thing and blow up a whole life out of it. I took that skill and what did I do? I brought it into a new role in tech. In my first month, I took them from zero partners. In my first year, rather, I took them from zero partners to 80 partners. Before then, before me, 6 months in, they were struggling to get five. So when I say you already have what you need, I do mean it. Sometimes it's soft, sometimes it's technical. And if you don't already have it, you can learn. So that's why when you also do a SWOT analysis, you'll see easily what do I need to learn? I need to figure out how to blah blah blah, or I need to get this certification. Those things will come at you. Fourth thing, you need to start building tangible proof. Are these small projects you can do? Are there people you can, create? So someone said they're already doing internships and whatnot. Fantastic. That is what we mean by tangible proof. But don't just be the person that is building all these things just for the sake of. How do you take that one thing that you've done and build an amazing story out of it? When I was managing vendors in the energy space, I realized that one of the things that was not available was we didn't have an NPS, a net promoter score, of how these partners and OEMs, original equipment manufacturers, were satisfied with the work that we were doing. So for 2 years, I started to do these things, create structures in place every quarter. Create like a survey that they can fill for us and tell us this is happening, this is not happening, and whatnot and whatnot. That was me building tangible proof. By the time I left the company, I could say and beat my chest categorically and say that look, I helped us go from net NPS of 5 to NPS of 8.8. That is story and proof enough for anybody to see. This was not the only thing I did in that job. Oh, I did all sorts. But I was all about reframing my own story. So I simply just focused on that one thing that I was already enjoying and layered and layered and layered and layered and layered. How can I make this better? How can I do this? Another example, it was very hard to figure out when contracts were expiring. Sometimes they have signed contracts I don't even know. So I needed to start building a database for it. These are skills I'm still using today. So how can you build tangible proof? Pay attention. What are the things that you are enjoying now? There's a project, however random it seems, there's a project that they bring you up on, or they say, write this or do that. As long as you find little joy in a particular project, I want you to figure out how you can expand more on that and find more opportunities to do it. Number five, plug your gap. It's very close to like building tangible proof. But like just get enough knowledge to bridge the critical gaps because for some people, they might need a certification. They might even need a course. So I took several courses as well. Short courses, a master's degree, a crash course in this. Please just make room for yourself by plugging your own knowledge gap because when you know something, you feel more confident about talking about it or about taking up an opportunity when it presents itself. And then the final thing is just act. I said earlier, what is going to take you from here to here is what you do between here. Think about it practically. If you wanted to walk from here to here, but you kept looking at this place and you didn't do anything about it, you won't get there. So, what you do is you start to act one step in front of the other, one tiny step, one small step, one conversation, one revamping of your CV, one article, one blog post, one trial project, one sort of reaching out to someone about it. Not in a way that they feel compelled or obliged to help you, but in a way that you yourself, you positioned yourself as being ready for these opportunities. So by leveraging your own network, by just applying with courage, all of these things is how you act. It's how you position yourself. By going for events and talking about it. Oh, I'm currently looking to transition from project management to that makes for an interesting conversation because that already shows that you're courageous, that you're intentional, that you know yourself, and everybody wants to help a go-getter, to be honest. So just use a SWOT. That would be like the fastest thing I will tell everybody here because with that you will easily find the strengths. This is for you at any stage if you already even know what you are doing. It helps you just reconnect what are the things I've already done in this space that I can bring into it. If you don't know what you are doing, it helps you as well because now you look at yourself just as a blank slate. You can think, oh, I've taken maternity time off, I don't even know, blah 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 blah. It's great, it's fine. Use this because you'll find out from your strengths, the capabilities and the skills you naturally excel at. You'll find out the areas that need development or support. You'll find out the opportunities that you can actually leverage. Sometimes when we say opportunities, it's not really just that, oh, the tech world is booming, or there is that, or there is that. Sometimes it's the people around you, the doors that you've refused to knock. Those are opportunities. The collaborations that you've refused to make, those are opportunities. And then the threats around as well. So, what are the obstacles that you need to deal with? Your mindset, your time, all of those things. I put a lot of questions there, 40 questions that you can walk through. You can do this in a week, you can do this in a day, you can do this in a month. And anybody who gets this, it's currently 70. I normally sell it for $10, but you can get it for $3 today and till the end of the month, really. So just go here or like scan this. I'll also share it after this conversation, but you can just scan this, get that workbook, and let me know how it goes. The worst thing you can do is keep all of these things to yourself. So you're all here, you all have tons of questions. So let's get right back into that. So I hope this has been helpful in just helping you like reshape how you're thinking about navigating your career switch.
Okay, guys. I'm sure one of them would need to drink some water
I do.
after what that. Yeah. So we're moving to the next phase, and in this phase, we are um, getting everyone in the audience. You get to ask your questions because it's ask me anything. The idea is to get everyone on the call who has a question about career growth and during themselves, career pivots, and whichever stage of your career that you're at right now, early stage, middle stage, or you're a boss like one there at all, and you want to ask your questions, it's fine. So the way we do it is you just simply raise up your hands. I can see Samuel's hands already raised, and then you raise up your hand, and then we take like 3 to 5 questions, and then one day would answer it, and then we take another 3 to 5 questions, and then one day answers it. So if you want to ask a question, please raise up your hand. Alternatively, Alternatively, you can put your questions in the chat. You say you don't want to speak or you are too shy, which I don't know why you will be, but say you are shy and you don't want to raise your hand, you don't want to hear your voice, maybe you have a cough, so you can just type your questions in the chat and we'll get to them too. So Samuel, since you raised your hand first, I will just let you go ahead. Samuel, please speak. Samuel, Samuel, okay, can you unmute your mic and speak, please? Thank you.
No, no, muted. So sorry, I'll start again. My name is Samuel. Okay, I wanted to say
Okay.
thank you, Mrs. Wamide, for this session. Really nice. So, I graduated 3 years ago from school, but the issue I had is that I'm based in Nigeria. We are necessarily not told what things we can explore with whatever courses we learn. We always are given this long statement of you can work anywhere, and I studied economics, so you can hear that statement. But as at when I was in school, I decided I was never going to be a banker. I found it a very boring job. So I wanted something flexible. So I learned tech. But then I went and started product management. But the problem I had is that I'm not a meeting kind of person. I find it counterintuitive when we have meetings every day and it's just moving the needle small, small. So recently I started to research about other skills I can apply to. So I started learning about business operations. And there are different areas to business operations. I have some skills from product management I can transfer there. But presently I'm learning accounting. I want to understand numbers in business properly, and I got a paid internship to understand that. But the problem I have is that I'm someone like a multi-potential, right? I'm someone that I like trying different things. And I would say that one of the skills I have is thinking. One of the strongest skills I have is thinking. If you give me something to think about, I can find a solution to it by thinking. But as much as I can think, I'm very, very poor at execution. So I don't know how someone like me can build executional skills. That's one thing. how I can balance multiple interests, and three, how I can build a career trajectory. I'm not necessarily doing it because I want to be a 9 to 5. I'm necessarily doing it because I want to build businesses. And one of the something I really want to build is a product studio, something like Idea Lab. That's the biggest product studio in the world, followed by Founders Bay, and I think the third one has closed, build space. So that's something I necessarily want to build in Africa at large. For to build that, I need to like be able to handle something. I don't know. That's my question. Thank you very much. So, is anybody getting
We heard you.
Yes, Samuel, we heard you clearly. So we're going to move to the next person. Would answer all the questions in bulk, even though Samuel asked three questions. Confidence, please go ahead. So I should have said this before Samuel spoke. Before you go ahead to ask your question, please let us know which stage of your career you are at, and then ask your question. So confidence, please, you can go ahead.
Can hear me. Please, can anyone hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Wamide, for taking out time and for the conversation so far. My name is Confidence, and just a brief background on my career. I think I'm in my early career stage. I've done 1 year as an operations manager. I have a doctor of pharmacy degree. I have a doctor of pharmacy degree, but after internships in hospitals and pharmacies and all of that, after NYC and all of that, I started off as an operations manager in a pharmaceutical, like a supply chain distribution industry. So I started off as an operations manager. I did that for about, I think, 18 months. Then I moved into consulting. I'm currently in consulting, health and management consulting firm. And the questions I have is basically on what next for me in my career. This is about a little over a year in consulting, and moved from a senior program analyst to an associate. But by next year, I will be relocating to Germany because of marriage. I got married last year, August. So I and my husband decided, okay, take some time, build some career, build. So by next year, it will be 2 years and I'll be relocating to Germany. So I have like a lot of questions have been going through my mind regarding the relocation and all. And I'm even trying to see if I can push it. But it's an evil that will definitely come. I will definitely have to move. So first off, I don't know what steps can I like take to ensure that this whole relocation actually accelerates my career rather than disrupt it. I'm currently in the public health space. I'm in a consulting firm in the public health space. Well, I know that public health is not so big outside, it's bigger in third world countries like ours. And um I don't know what I can do to ensure that this relocation actually accelerates my career instead of disrupting it. And a second question I also want to ask is that is there a way I can like position the skills I have now, consider a career change, and with the background, like what specific industries that I would be most valuable in, especially in that, because I'm really scared about the movement because of my career, especially. And I don't know what my job search would look like within the next first like 3 to 6 months of my move. And also, I've always wanted to do an MBA. I've always wanted to do an MBA right from when I left school. I knew at some point I would want to do an MBA, but I don't know how Wamide has an MBA. What do you think about doing an MBA? Is it something I should chase first or I should chase later? I know it's an expensive feat. What are the options that I can explore? And another thing I also want to ask is that we talk about switching careers, we talk about early career stage where you get to experiment, where you get to make all the mistakes. But life doesn't actually sit back and wait for you to do all of this experimenting. And there's life happening, responsibilities, there's a family to support. And now that I'm going to relocate, there's possibly children to give birth to. So how do we manage all of this? Because life is not waiting for you to do all your experiments and figure it out and start living. So how do we manage it, and how much impact? I know motherhood will definitely have an impact on career. How much impact does this have, and how do we manage it? Because I'm someone that I've always loved to be a consultant. I always wanted to. I recently realized that in one of my journals from when I was in secondary school, junior secondary, I had written that I wanted to be a consultant. But now I don't know. I'm open to a lot of things. So these are just basically the questions that I have, especially about the MBA bits and the transitioning bits and how best to lean in when I go abroad. Thank you, and over.
Thank you, Confidence. You really went in there, and I'm sure Wamide will give you an answer. We're going to take one more question, and then I'll have Wamide answer everybody that's spoken so far. So, Chukwu Ezi, I hope I got your name pronunciation right. Can you please unmute your mic? Let us know what career stage you are in, and then ask your question.
Everybody, and thank you so much for this section. So I'll just get into it. Um, I'm in the okay. It's 4 years now. 4 years of working experience. So I started as a virtual assistant. I did this for over 3 years. So earlier this year, I decided to go for bigger role, more responsibility, something that would push growth and learning for me. And I moved into operations management. So basically from the side I was in as a virtual assistant, I used to work with coaches. So it was not really a tough switch for me because most of the skills I already have were very transferable. So 2 months, I think that was 2 months or 3 months into my search for an operations manager role. I got a job, but I didn't last in it because of some environmental issues. I just did not like the environment at all. It was very um it was not supporting my well-being, and it was very condescending, a kind of way that makes you question yourself. So in less than a month I left the job, and since that time nothing has been working for me. So I don't know if maybe I should just go back to the place I have been, or I should just push forward. I should just push forward in this whole operational management thing and pray that at some point is going to finally click for me. Although that while I'm still in this phase that I'm in, I've been like still testing a lot of tools, learning more in operations. I even went as far as learning a new language because I want to go international as well. Also, my second question is I don't know if I should go freelance with this operations management thing, or I should find a company to join, because the first experience I had since I switched to operations manager, it was not a positive one. So I don't know if I should go freelance, or I should just find a company and join and grow it. So those are my two questions. Thank you.
Okay, Wamide, I think it's time for you to provide answers. Best you can.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Chukwueze, Confidence, and Samuel for questions. For some reason, you're all in operations management, so maybe you all need to connect with each other and help each other navigate these things. Because you're all in different spaces, but you've all done operations in one way or the other. Um, for Samuel, so you're multi potential, passionate. you're thinking about how you want to build a career trajectory and whatnot, you're all also all in your early career stage. So what you're feeling is actually not out of place. Like, this is the stage in your life where you're starting to ask yourself, what am I even doing? Like, is this going to lead to anything? And it can get hard because, like, you can't really see where all of this would lead to, because you might also have other interests that you want to pursue. But let me start with, I think I would move to confidence, who said something around like, how do you experiment when you don't have time and whatnot. When we say experimenting, we're not saying, at least I'm not saying, that you should jump from one place to the other. Experimenting is basically doing the best that you can with where you are at. So, for example, your role might be largely operations management, but let's say that they threw something around data analysis your way. That's what we mean by experimenting. You take it, you try it out, you see if you like it, and if you don't, you move on from it. That's basically what experimenting is. Experimenting is what Chukwueze has tried to do. She started as a VA, but now she's saying, hey, how do I explore operations management and things like that? So back to the questions. Um, I'm not sure who's to answer first. So I will just throw like blanket answers and please pick yours from this, because I think that would be the best for me. The best way I can answer this. So you started out as a VA, Chukwueze, and you moved to operations. So big ups on you for even being courageous enough to say, you know what, let me try out this. That's again what we mean by experimenting. You've already built skills in a certain place. And big up on you for recognizing that a particular environment was not giving you what you needed and you moved away from it. My personal bias is that I usually ask people to work in teams first, especially in the early career stage of your life, because again, it's such a huge foundation, and the things that you learn at that stage will help you be a better leader, a better manager, a better career professional as you go on. The things that I learned at PwC 10 years ago, I started my career, I started my job at PwC in 2014. Before that, I already held a different job at a startup. I tell you, my experience was completely different just working in a structured environment. And it is that structure that I'm still using to navigate even things right now. It's what I use as a director, and I can bring structure into chaos. So I will always, always, always push for people to please work in structured environments or somewhere that at least gives you some sense of growth, because honestly, it helps you be so much better. You don't want to have to be thinking about everything else. Because at this point, what you're most concerned about is your learning and the environment that you're in. But if you're the same person that has to think about what will my boss say, or basically an environment that just doesn't allow you to be yourself, that's not where you want to be. So, um, I don't really think the question is, should I go freelance? Should I not go freelance? Because honestly, your path is different. So I'm not going to say go freelance or don't go freelance. I'm just going to say you take one step after the other. Number one, forgive yourself for that job. Like, think about it as if you were making a meal. If you were making beans and it burned, are you going to say, you know what, forever, I'm not going to cook beans again? I doubt it. One day you'll still say, you know what, let me see. Maybe I'll stand here this time around. I won't leave the kitchen so that I can see these beans and it won't get burnt. So use it that way. I know it's a very simple example or parallel to draw, but sometimes we need that sort of simplicity to actually help us make sense of the exaggerations that we make in our minds about our careers. The fact that you've tried out somewhere and it didn't work out is not a waste. If anything, it's an indicator that you are clear on the kind of environment that you want to work in. So start off by documenting where you want to go. Before I left that job in energy, even though I had already spent 8 years in my career, one of the things I did differently this time compared to other switches that I had made was to be clear about where I wanted to go. What was my dream environment? I wanted to work with like minded people. I wanted to work somewhere where my voice was heard. Those were things that I didn't have in the environment that I was at before. So when you leave a certain environment or workplace, the reasons why you left become the reasons why you don't want to be in those environments anymore. So use that experience instead and use it to build the kind of dream company that you want to work at. An environment that allows me be myself, that allows me learn, that allows me do this and do that and do that. And feel free to try out those things. You've already been freelancing. You've done freelancing for 3 years, but you have bills to pay. So you would obviously need to do what needs to be done. If being a VA or an operations management manager freelance helps you pay the bills for now, fine. But I do think you would find some value in being in a structured environment where you can make impact on a different scale. But your own path is your own path. Weigh the options as well. Is it just the environment that you did not like, but did you maybe enjoy something else from that work experience that you had, and just use it to build exactly where you want to go? For confidence, I think that you need to try to write out your fears. The things that you're dealing with, some of them have something to do with your career, and some of them don't. But you're modeling them up together because you're going into something that you're not completely sure of, and that's normal. I think it happens to most women because I haven't really heard men complain about this. But I felt it as well when I was getting married, where you start to ask yourself, like, what am I even bringing into here? Do I need to have this figured out? You have this immense pressure to be stable. But honestly, I think that's just too much pressure. There's also the sense of, oh my God, I'm going to have kids soon. I need to know what I'm doing so that this and this and this. But that fear is not going to help you. So, what I want you to do is just first take a step back. There are two things that you are actually navigating. First of all, you are going on a relocation journey, and that in itself is scary. You're not sure. So think about what is it about this relocation that I'm afraid of? Write it out. I want you to name your fears. Second, talk about the job. There are two different things. Relocating to Germany, there are other things you should start considering. How are you going to navigate the language? Those are the things that you actually should be thinking about. Because in reality, you have built a solid career for yourself. You've navigated a certain space already. You are in consulting. But you're feeding yourself with all of these assumptions. I don't know how much research that you made, but a simple Google search would actually show you companies in Germany that are in public health, or companies in Germany that need XYZ people or need your skills. So, name your fears with respect to relocating or marriage or motherhood. Name it. Then, figure out what it is in your career or in your job or in your skill set that is useful outside of here. I don't think it has anything to do with whether you are in Germany or whether you're in Nigeria. At the end of, excuse me, at the end of the day, everybody's looking for value. And if you provide value, it's great. A friend of mine relocated from a role in consulting in Nigeria to another role in consulting in the UK. If consulting is still something you want to do, find the consulting companies in Germany. You have a skill set already, you have built it, you have honed it. Stop telling yourself that you don't know anything. Stop telling yourself that you don't have enough to navigate this new space that you're going into. No, start drawing the strengths and the things that you've built. What are the projects that you've worked on that people liked? Those are the things that you need to really, really start paying attention to. Over the next 6 months, what are the projects that you need to work on? What are the wins that you are bringing? What's the value that you are bringing to the table? Be more intentional about recognizing those because that will help you position better and position properly. So separate them because you're bringing them all together and it is not letting you see the value in what you already have. All of these values are actually transferable. With respect to MBA or no MBA, there are two ways that I always think about an MBA. Sometimes it can be an escape, and sometimes it can be a leverage. Some people use it as an escape in the sense that, you know what, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. Let me just go for an MBA. But I honestly don't think that that's what you should do at this point. I think you should still try to build a year or two of career experience in Germany when you relocate. Before you start considering an MBA, there are amazing schools in Europe where you can actually learn. So I'm sure that you will get into like a solid school here in Europe, so it's not a problem at all. But Separate your fears. They're completely two different things. Name them first, and then start reframing how you're seeing the skills and the things that you already have. And remind yourself that the fact that you are an immigrant or moving to a new place does not mean that your skill sets are not necessary or valued, because they are. And then for Samuel, there's a lot in here that you've packed. But I think you've already navigated the path that you want for yourself. Yes, you studied economics, and you don't like banking, so you've obviously not told a path that is in banking. If you're learning accounting slash business operations, maybe my question is like, have you already started? And if you're saying like, how do you build a career trajectory? It's already what you're doing. Like by building it, by finding opportunities to now work in business operations. Are there startups and fintechs in Nigeria that you think that you want to work with, or try doing some things for and go from there? Are there projects that you can try on the side to just see what you can do, even in your current company? Are there opportunities in there where you can navigate helping around business operations so that you actually build the skills necessary here? Remember that I said sometimes you don't really know what you want until you start or try it out. So like someone here as well, I also wanted to work in consulting so bad, and I was thrilled when I eventually started, but it was a lot. Oh, it was really a lot. But then some people still enjoy it. So like as you start, you figure out what you want or don't want, but it just means doing something. You want to do this idea lab, the founders thing, the build space, just start small. What can you do in your local, I don't know, space right now? Because all of those things that you do in just building smaller communities, smaller groups, smaller networks here and there, they all help you in building the big thing. Sometimes we do this thing where we obsess over like the big dream, and the grand idea that we want, and we never really start anything, or we over question ourselves and ask like, who am I to want to do this thing, or why should I want to do this thing? And then we always do this, oh, I want to do the biggest something 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 in Africa. That's great, but please just start from where you are. Do what you can where you are right now, because the Bill Gates and the Steve Jobs of this world, they didn't start off dominating the world. They started from their garage. They started from California. They started from the college that they were in, or the space that they were in. Facebook was first on campus before it became, okay, let's try it out. Before it then became, let's try it out in the entire world. So like, take a small step right now. That would do so much good for you than obsessing over this grand dream or this grand idea of what you think you want to do. Because honestly, that dream, you can't achieve it alone. But the things that you can achieve alone right now are the foundations that will set you up, and you would eventually know who you need, what you need to navigate those things. So I hope that helps you. The core thing I'll just say like to the three of you is like, please pay attention. Just pay attention to the levers, the things that you are enjoying, the things that you're not enjoying, the industries that you think you are being drawn to, and start to walk towards getting yourself there. It's like driving. You know that you're trying to go from, I don't know, Lagos to Ibadan, and you just keep moving. You turn left, you turn right, you drive straight, you just keep going. So, all I would really say right now is keep going. You already know what you're doing. Remember that. You already know what you're doing. Don't let like any other thing tell you otherwise.
Oh wow, that was pretty good. Okay, Wamide, you ready for the next set of questions? Okay. So Osi Oyemi, I hope I didn't mess your name up. I apologize in advance. Can you please go ahead? Um, Osi Oyemi, your mic, we're unable to hear you. Can you unmute yourself? Osi Oyemi, your mic is still muted. Can you please unmute yourself and speak? Uh, okay. We'll come back to you. So, Chibugo, would you like to go ahead? Chibugo, you would need to unmute yourself and your hands are raised and speak.
So I'm a bit confused on what career path to follow right now. I'm at this point where I've tried a lot of things and they don't seem to work. And I'm just hoping you have, I don't know, probably an advice for me.
The magical answer for you.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh,
What have you done so far?
I've done a lot of professional jobs. I've also done, menial jobs as well. But professionally, I've worked as a sales executive. I've worked as a sales rep. I've worked in the shop floor. I've been a sales representative. I've been a customer service representative, customer experience, customer relationship, and all of that. They worked for a while. I actually like working as, a customer service representative, customer experience and all of that. But now I'm at this point in my life where I want more. I want more out of life and not just basic, things like that.
Okay.
okay. Thank you, Chibugo. We're gonna take a few more questions that will answer everyone. So, Ophelia, are you back now? Can you unmute your mic and go ahead?
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Ms. Wamide. This is Toluwani. So my question, I'm going to give my background first, then it lead to my question. So basically, I'm in the early stage of. Please, can we hear me? Ah,
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
okay, showing weak. That's okay. All right. So I'm currently in the early stage of my career. I graduated 2 years ago with a degree in computer science. My first job out of school was a low code developer at an investment firm. And in that role, I was able to experience working as a product manager because when our PM resigned, because of how long hiring takes, I just volunteered so that my projects can move that I'll be the PM. And that's how I got into project slash product management. So life happened after NYSC, and I had to move back to Port Harcourt. But I eventually came back to Lagos this year through a training as a Crazier. So
Sorry, Tolu Animi, can you unmute? I mistakenly muted you.
oh my god, okay, thank you. So I got back to Lagos through a training program where they train you on a particular tech skill, then they post you to a company. So the tech skill I got or I applied for was data analytics, and I was posted to a firm. So I finished in May, and till date, the firm has just been taking their sweet time with hiring. So for like 5 months, I've been at home. I just did my interview like this month, like 2 week last week. I just did my interview for the role. But in span of the 5 months that I spent at home, I had some reflection. So the thing is that I have a problem that I'm good with technical things, but I don't exactly enjoy the work. So I can code if you want me to code. I can learn. I have done networking, but when I'm in those roles, I do well. Like my manager sometimes they even go on leave and say, "Oh, they're handing over to me." I know the first time they did that, you handing over to an intern, and I actually did well that they even extended their leave. So I know I am good. I think that's what I'm using to qualify that I'm good when it comes to technical things. But I don't enjoy those things. I like in my work experience in these three roles that I've mentioned, is when I was doing the work with product manager that I felt the happiest. Managing people, managing the projects, managing the products, seeing the products go live. So I call it like my, will I call it guilty pleasure? Because on the surface, I'm a technical, oh, she's smart, she's good with technical stuff. So I took up a certification course in product management with product dive because I'm like, okay, since I know I'm still eventually going to do a technical role in this company they posted me to, let me just use this time and explore what I actually like. So that has been going well. But my fear is moving from a non moving from a technical background to a non-technical background scares me because I'm still trying to understand how sustainable soft skills in tech are. And I think it's because of my background. Like I can clearly see the career path of a developer. I can clearly see the career path of a networking person. But when you talk of career paths like product management, project management, these skills are heavy on soft skills. So what pulls me back is like, okay, what's the growth projection? Like, okay, I can speak well. A lot of people can speak well. Okay, I can manage some issues. So that's basically what's holding me back because I know that this technical world, I can do it, but it's not my strength. It's not what they wake me up from sleep. Like I just do it to get it over with. But if you give me people, if you like bring difficult people, I don't know how I think it's part of being a festival, knowing how to manage conflicts. Like I enjoy it because it's like, okay, let me talk to this person, let me talk to this people. We're aligned. And maybe someone you've been trying to reconcile for 1 month, I reconcile them for like in 2 days and they have already finished deploying the product. So it's always like magic. And I don't know what exactly I do to do that. I don't know, I just talk to them. So I think I don't know. I've asked my question. I don't know why I can't allow myself to enter into this non-technical version of me because I feel I don't see the sustainable growth. But I know if I'm technical, I can clearly map out, okay, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to do. So that's basically, I hope I've asked my question, but that's basically my question.
I, I think you might have asked and answered your question, but I'll let you Wamide give
Really?
it to me.
Ah,
Yeah, I think you might have done. But Ocio, I mean, please, will you go next? You've been waiting in line for a while.
all right, thank you.
I don't think Oshiri is back. Is it he or she back?
Oh, I don't. I think
I
she
think they dropped off
left the call.
again.
Okay, so Taiwo Adeyeye, would you? Oh, Ocio is back. If you can hear me, Ocio, please unmute your mic and ask the question, please. I'll wait for you. I think you might be having network issues. Okay, we'll take one more question. Taiwo Adeyeye, will you please go ahead and ask the question? But before Taiwo goes, Ocio, please, if you're unable to ask your question, please, you can type it in the chat and we would one day we'll put it to answer. Taiwo, please go ahead.
All right, thank you. Good day. It might not be afternoon for everyone. Okay, my name is Taiwo. So as to deciding my career stage, I really cannot say because I have moved around quite a bit. So I studied fisheries, but when I graduated, I my first job was with a logistics firm, and I from there I worked there for about 2 years. Then I moved to another logistics firm. I worked there for about 8 months. Then I moved to another one. I also stayed there for about 8 months. So while I was on the on the third job, I decided I wanted more. I didn't like what I get to do day by day. Yes, the job was good, but I didn't like who I get to be. I wanted to be. I felt like I wanted a better career path than the logistics and supply chain industry. So I decided to transition in 2022 into the tech industry, and I got trained as a backend engineer. But my first job in the same 2022 was I eventually got employed as to do front end engineering, which I did for about a year. So while I was on that job, um, the product owner for the product that we were building at that time was sort of was sort of doing the role of a product owner and a product manager at the same time. So they were at that time looking for a product manager to oversee the product, but it was taking a while. But based on my contributions and because of my experience in supply chain and logistics, because during meetings I sort of bring some practical insights into the solution beyond just coding. And so the product owner felt like he would like to recommend me for the role of a PM, and that happened. That was in 2023, and I took on the role. And since then, I would say that I've enjoyed the role better than my front-end engineering that I was doing. And I've decided that, okay, I want to do this path of product management. But so since 2023, I would say I've been a product manager up till date. I'm currently on maternity leave now. I just had my baby 3 months ago. I'll be resuming work 1st of December. So this time I'm like, you're very similar to the previous person. Was it Toluwani's question? I'm like, I'll say I'm 2 years in, and I'm asking myself the question of how do I grow? Like, I really want to grow. I want to position myself in such a way that I can get, say, senior roles, things like that. I want to really grow fast because I feel like I have spent a lot of time moving from place to place. I've spent about, I think I'll say my professional experience, work experience has been about 6 years in total. So I'm like, I really want to grow from where I am at now in that short period of time to a senior role in product management. So I don't know how you can help me navigate that path. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Taiwo. We have three more questions. So one day, please just go ahead to answer these first three questions, then we'll take the last two afterwards.
All right. Okay. Thank you all for your questions. For some reason today there seem to be a lot of aligned themes. The first set was like operations management. This set is like product and all the different things you've done in between. Um, So remember when I was talking earlier about how to switch your careers, and I did say that you have to start focusing on not just the things that you don't have, but the things that you already have. Whether you have a background in fisheries or you have a background in animal psychology or physiology, all of those things don't actually matter. I tend to think about it these days that some of the reasons why education or tertiary education, the way it's been done, is that it just helps us build a certain skill set for learning, for figuring things out, for understanding concepts, right? And every single person here that has gone through school already kind of feels that way. You've gone through a boot camp, or you've learned something, or studied something, or even self-taught yourself, right? And you're so much better for it. So a lot of these things that you are feeling has to do with like mindset blocks, and they need to start reframing those mindsets. So for one, somebody is thinking, you know what, how do I navigate all of these things? When you started to explain, Taiwo, your journey in logistics, you were focused more on the company, not what you had done. And instead of again focusing on I've worked at this or I've worked at that, it should be I've worked as this. Because there is one skill or two skills that I'm very sure that you've picked up from that place that helps you do your work better here. And that's what I also always mean when I say do a SWOT analysis, because immediately you start to see the things that other people cannot see. Because again, it is your journey. You start to see how maybe you built or set up XYZ at so and so logistic company, and this makes you an exceptional thinker or an exceptional strategist, skills that are relevant for you as you navigate, whatever it is that you want to do next. So when I also talk about experimenting in your early career, this is kind of exactly what I mean with Taiwo. So you did logistics, then you switched to tech, you wanted to do back-end engineering, but you found yourself in front-end engineering and you did it. You see what I mean? And then you took up a product manager role and then you did it. That's what we mean by experimenting, because in doing those things, you've now understood or you've come to fall in love with something. That's the value of taking opportunities when they come your way, rather than sitting down and questioning and wondering and wondering, right? So it is again just like cooking. I want to be able to cook rice. I want to be able to cook pasta. I want to be able to cook this or cook that. It's not just by sitting down that you figure it out. When you cook it, then you know, oh, I haven't added enough salt to my XYZ. I haven't done enough this, right? So that's really what we mean by experimenting. I like to use basic concepts like this because hopefully the next time you are cooking or the next time you are driving, you will remember some of these things and it will help you just remember that there are options and you can do this. But to go back to the questions at hand, I think I'll start with Taiwo. Um, Positioning for senior roles is by doing senior role things now. Think about it like becoming a an expert driver. When I started learning how to drive, um, you will wonder and wonder and wonder and wonder and wonder. You get but the and then you would try to learn or you would try to do certain things. But the way that you become an expert driver is to keep driving. It doesn't matter if you have spent 4 years as a learner, you don't become an expert if you don't keep driving. So to become a senior, you start to do the things that a senior does. There's this concept that while I was in consulting, they had where the way that they grade you in your performance review is through like three key things, or I don't remember now, but essentially there's a grade called performing above and beyond. There's a grade called performing excellently. There's a grade called performing as expected. There's a grade called performing below expectation. What you need to be doing is performing above and beyond. Every single growth that I've had in the space that I'm in now, when I joined this company, it's crazy, but I don't want to say I don't have any ambition. Like I said, I just wanted a remote job. That was all I wanted at the time. But in 1 year, I had gone above and beyond. So much so that I took up a leadership role. And then the next year, basically every year, I've gone from going from lead to head of this to director to VP. But it doesn't happen by wishing it. It happens by doing things. There's certain things I did. For example, I'm in a role where I have no business taking on business deals. But I take up a business deal, I work it out in 1 week, something that the typical sales team does not even do. I get our money in, the sales team used to extend this long line of credit. I get paid on the spot. I make the company money in 2 months. I'm getting a promotion that I didn't ask for, that I didn't lobby for. And some even like people are stressing me. So, but of course, like every company is different. So at different companies as well, you would see whether it's easier or not. But if you're in a structured company whereby you have a manager that can actually see your like performance and all of those things, you need to be performing above and beyond. That's how they know that you're ready for the next level. If you are in a non-structured environment, you need to just take the bull by the horn and do things that nobody has sent you to do and document it for everybody to see because they'll come back and ask you, oh, Taiwo, how did you do that? And when you start to explain how you did that, then they know, oh, there's no reason why Taiwo shouldn't be a senior PM. And even if they don't recognize that, you can then start to have the conversation. So positioning for a senior opportunity is by doing senior things. I hope that helps. Whatever it is that you want to do, whether as a PM, I think you're an excellent PM. Again, I'm not in your day to day, but you sound like someone who has a grasp of these things and who can actually hold the room. So look for a job description for somewhere you want to work and try to draw out the responsibilities that they do. Look at what you've not already done and find an opportunity for you to do it. That's how you can go from here to there. For Tolu and me, just like Isaac said, you have answered your question. Why are you holding yourself back? I think that there is a story you've told yourself, or there is a standard that you're trying to hold yourself to. Maybe it comes from parental influence, or from a mentor's influence, or from any other thing. But you're going to need to break out of the mold that is keeping you safe. Because I think that's exactly what you're trying to do. You're trying to keep it safe. And you are such a proactive person because you've gone from moving away in just 2 years, like moving away from where you were in Port Harcourt to taking on a degree in an education in product management and whatnot. When you said you applied for this data analytics stuff, my big question to you was going to be why? You already started doing product management and you enjoyed it. Then you yourself went to rearrange yourself inside data analytics. But somehow, God is trying to bring you back into product management, but you don't want to come back. Why? Why are you holding yourself back? Two is, again, every product manager is not the same. I hope you know the people we call technical product managers. I would rather a product manager that I can ask about data insights and is able to draw insights to me than somebody who talks meetings all day. Product management is so much more than, meetings, just like somebody said. It's about shipping. But you know what we want to see beyond shipping? The impact of the ship. What is our churn? What is our user acquisition metric? What does this and this and this and this look like? But if you're not somebody that is focused on data, you won't build in that way. You won't push for it in that way. You won't ask your engineers about those questions. And the data is just as important as what we're shipping. Because you want to know, are people even interacting with this thing? Has it even made any difference? There's a problem you're trying to solve when you are shipping a product. But you know what a lot of people don't do when they ship? They don't measure. You can bring those two skills together. And you don't have to have two identities. You don't have to look at yourself as I'm a data analyst or I'm a product manager. You can still be a technical product manager that is focused on doing ABC, XYZ, 1, 2, 3. So, what I would tell you to do is one, stop holding yourself back. Like, you need to break free from this mold that you're trying to put yourself into. I don't know why, but you've already found something that makes you happy. Product management does that for you. So go for it. It could be a product analyst role that you will start in. It could be a junior product manager role that you start in. But the way that you will stand out is to start doing this insights thing that I mentioned. I assure you, I've been on product teams, and the thing that drives me crazy is not seeing data. And do you know why? Because early on while I was at PwC, I worked on a lot of data problems. I worked on a lot of data problems. So I have this when it comes to data. I'm going to take a raw Excel sheet with like 100,000 records and quickly build a dashboard from it. I don't have to call myself a data analyst. But if anybody on the executive team asks me a question, how are we doing with ABC? I don't have to go and be digging into the data. It's already on a dashboard and anybody can see it. That is how you create value. Sometimes it's not just in your job title or in your job description, it's in exactly what you do. So stop trying to mold yourself and just allow yourself be. Allow yourself to use the skills that you already know. And instead, find parallels, people that are already doing what you do, and just focus on it. You have data, you have product management. They're not two different things. Make product management the mother and make data analysis like the subset, so to say. Now, for Chibugo, you've done so many different things, and big shout out to you for having to try out all of these things. Some of this may have been just for survival and whatnot, but I like that you found this thing around customer service. Now, when you say you want more out of life, what exactly does that mean? Because honestly, more means different things, especially at different stages of our lives. There was a time where, for me, more meant working at a global company, working at a company that has a name. There was a time where I didn't care about that. More for me meant building something with my hands from start to finish. Like really seeing a product take off was my more. And there was a time where right now my more means helping people navigate this kind of career change. So define what more really means to you, because it can mean different things, and don't feel like this will be the entire thing you would need. I've come to recognize that I'm growing as a person. So my more will always look different depending on what phase of life I'm in. My child is a toddler now. Maybe it does mean that my more looks like making more time for him. So this is where my more meant flexibility and agency at a particular time. But my more is also fulfillment. I don't just want to be the one that is pressing keys or whatnot. I want to be able to say, because of me, person A did so and so and so. So define what more looks like to you. I don't think having a customer service role is bad in itself, but it's in the environment that you are in that makes the difference. So, what kind of environment would you rather find yourself? You've already had a lot of these things with sales and whatnot. What I would push you to do is, how can we get you into a proper structured company? How can we get you into a company that recognizes the importance of making customers happy and help provides opportunities that allows you to do that? So think about it like, is it a bank? Is it a fintech? Is it somewhere that uses a lot of data? Maybe a child deck or whatever that you can get into. Then find communities as well. There are customer service communities around. You can check on LinkedIn. You can check on Twitter, so that you can start to be in the communities and in the spaces where some of these people already are, and you can get closer to the opportunities in those spaces, right? Yeah, I'll pause here.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we'll take the last three questions. Ayomide, please go ahead.
For doing this. Just like you, I intend to also um, sit and be able to speak plenty English and change people's lives. I started life, you know, very early in life. We want to be a lawyer, but life lifed, and I got into I got into school to study sociology. Graduated um, the Nigerian economy, to get a job, got to real estate. Eventually, now I work in asset management. Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, yes, we
All
can
right.
hear
So
you.
I work in asset management, but my challenge is I'm not a numbers person, right? I am more of that humanities guy. I want to be able to speak. I want to be able to transform people's lives, just by my thoughts. But you said something earlier that struck me. Don't be a thought leader with no depth. Right. So there is that aspect. Um, as I journeyed through life, there's been this nudging to do human resources, right? Do human resources, do consulting like you, get into people management consulting. But you know how it is with getting into consulting, at that big level. So I've been struggling between asset management or finance generally. We know for us here, in the Nigerian market, finance is one of those very rare or few industries or sectors that pay the most. So the pay is good, right? And there's been that consternation, of having to drop that, start afresh, with human resources management, and then build up. Somebody who has responsibility, who is married with his family, and all of that. And so, when you want to break into human resources management, you don't even have a CIPM to start with. That's entry level. So it takes you back to earning, um, you know, figures that are not what you currently earn right now. So there's been all of this juggling, putting all of this together. And if you ask me, I want to be able to do more than just earning the money. I want to be able to, make impact. And, from my very early days in life, I've always had this feedback from people that when you speak to me, um, paraphrasing all of the feedbacks I've gotten. When you speak, you make sense. Thank you so much for talking to me. Thank you so much for showing me the way. Thank you for so much for helping my thoughts and all of that. So that has been what has been at the back of my mind to say, oh, maybe I have a knack for public speaking that I've not developed. Maybe there's something in there. So just being able to navigate all of this. But trust me, I'm not a technical person in terms of numbers. I don't like the numbers. But you can't do asset management and investing and portfolio management and not do the numbers. I'm 3 years into that. And truth be told, one of the reasons why I have not been able to even move from my current establishment to another is because personally, I kind of evaluate myself, put myself side by side, do some benchmarking to say, if I move from here to these big names, am I certain that I am on that level to be able to, offer real value? So I don't feel like if I move to, say, for instance, maybe Chapel Hill Denham or an African investor, something, right? I'll be able to command real value in that space. But here, on the other hand, my CEO even told me 2 days ago that as someone who doesn't have a background in finance, I have impressed him. And so, somewhere in my head, I'm unable to marry that to say, this is me, guy, you are not good with numbers. Your CEO is saying he's impressed with you, right? And I don't think if I move to a bigger place where it will be like, it's going to look like I'm going to be skinned, right? And all of that. So I've been looking forward to getting this opportunity with you to be able to, just help me with clarity and see what I should really be doing. And so I just need, your thoughts and your help around this. How do I navigate? How do I, move from here to there, and without losing myself, without losing my essence? Thank you.
Okay. Um, Next question, Deborah. Please go ahead. Deborah. Deborah, are you there? Please unmute your mic. Yes, thank you.
First, I want to just connect my AirPods.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay. You can go ahead now. Deborah, are you there now? Okay, Deborah, we're gonna circle back to you. Focus, please go ahead.
My name is Focus. Okay, so I am currently a lawyer, a dispute resolution lawyer. I think my simple question is, okay, firstly, I don't like what I do in a way, but I've been doing it for 3 to 4 years. And my simple question is, what if you don't have anything else you're interested in life? I sometimes I'm confused as to, I get people like me who maybe honestly have no interest in life and are just winging through life, and every day they feel very discontented in that fact that they don't have anything they're interested in, and even what they do, they do not like it. That's just my simple question.
Okay. Deborah, are you there now? Can you go ahead? Deborah, if you're speaking, you are muted right now.
Me.
Yes, we can hear you now. Please go ahead. Deborah, please go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, we can hear you now. Please go ahead. Now we can't hear you anymore. Okay. While we wait for Deborah, yes, we're about to do that. Deborah, we can't hear you properly.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Please go ahead, ask the question.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Wamide, for answering our questions. Um, I think while I was listening to the answers to other people's questions, I sort of have like a similar, would I say, situation with some people. Um, but I think this is similar to the person that mentioned that they like the technical aspect, but it's not really something that they like. So I studied real estate, um, but um, I knew that I didn't want to be the agent person, but so I went into real estate data and research, which was amazing when I started. But I know that sometime during the um, maybe like my second to third year studying that, the would I say passion for that just went downhill. Um, but because it's something that I had done for almost 4 years, it was almost as if I didn't know whether I could do another thing. So it was real estate research. It was something that I was known for. It was something that was already on my LinkedIn. Something that was it was almost like all of my skills was built towards that particular um would I say career or pathway. So I left. I had to leave after a long reflection and serious time towards last year, and then this year I didn't know what I was going to do, but I did start. I knew that I loved teaching, so I wanted to do something in that line. So I started. I saw someone that I could help this company to teach their employees on certain soft skills. I started that, to me, when I say building a business, not building a business, I literally started a company out of that this year. So I have a company based on like learning and development, basically learning, development, consulting. And I remember you mentioned that it's not all of our passions that may likely lead to a career. Me, I've now started a company. So I'm now like, okay, I know that I have so many other passions that I want to like dabble my hands into, not dabble, like actually like try out. But it feels like now that I've started this company, I need to like focus on it. I need to build a structure and do a whole, thing. It's still in the line of one of my passions, which is teaching. But I mean, it's not something that the business comes all the time. So it can be like in a month or two, maybe I'll just get like one job. So um although I had gotten open recently to the learning and development space, and I just realized, oh my goodness, this is something that I would really love to like explore more. But so that is a space I want to explore more. But there are other things as well that I want to also like that other things that I got, would I say, other things, other passions that got sparked up this year, especially because I left the other job like that. I put my hands into them, like, oh my goodness, I want to continue in this. So I don't know if I have a question. That is where I am. But I feel like I should have a question, but I just need a bit of I don't know what I need. This is the end of this is
Yeah,
where I'm at right now. So that's it.
Deborah, let me step in to help you here. Wamide, did you get our statement? Because that's not a question. Did you get our statement?
most of it. It feels
Okay.
like this is therapy and question packed in one. I don't know if you
Okay.
guys know, but I offer one-on-one sessions. Um, and as you were speaking, some of you were reminding me of some of the clients that I've worked with, and hopefully some of you will become some of them as well. But the core thing here is you have something, you've started something, you want to do something else, but you don't know like how to do it. So we'll start with Ayomide
Family, sorry, before you go ahead to answer, there are a few questions in
in
the
the
chat.
chat.
Do you
Yeah,
want to
let
take
me
them
take this
now?
set and then
Then,
we'll do the
okay.
questions in the chat.
Okay.
Don't worry, we've got
All
you.
right.
And thank you for your patience. So with Ayomide, you want to change people's lives essentially, and you don't think asset management helps you do that, or like you're just not as thrilled doing this thing. Truth is that life has a way of dealing us with the things that we need to get us to the next place. But again, it's how we decide to see those things that helps us go there. And I recognize the need to be careful when navigating these changes because obviously you have bills you need to pay, you have things that are depending on you for real life and sustainability. But ultimately, the biggest gift you can give yourself is the gift of leveraging your courage. It's the gift of courage, essentially, like giving yourself permission to be everything you want to be. That's the biggest gift that you can give yourself, ultimately. You don't want to be one of those people who they're sorry, it's a big grin, but like in their final days, they're like, yes, I provided for my family, I did all of these things, but at the end of the day, you were not happy because I believe very strongly that one of our core reasons why we exist is to be happy. I've recently been reading Femi Otedala's book, and even after all of the money that he made, he still made in certain, at some point, say things like, you know what, giving makes me happy, and I want to create more opportunities to do that. And all of you here have kind of stated the things that maybe make you happy or don't make you happy. And if you've already recognized that, then what we want to do is get you to the place that makes you happy. With Taiwo, what can you do in the space that you're currently in right now? I know how it can be, like when someone is telling you, oh my God, you're so great at this thing, but you feel like you want to be doing something else. I think instead of, don't take feedback as if it means you must do this thing. Think about it this way. If you made a good meal today and someone said, this tastes really good, does that mean you need to go and become a chef or open a restaurant? No. It's just feedback in time. It's just feedback for that season. So it's not necessarily like go ye forth and become an asset management executive or director. We're not saying become, the manager or the partner or this in this space. No, it's just feedback in time. And what that does for you is helps you even see that you could take something that you did not enjoy and build something out of it. How much more if you're in a space where you enjoy the thing that you do? Do you see how much progress you're going to make from it? That's how you should take that feedback. Not as a button that you need to stay stuck in asset management. So, how can we help you get into human resources, for example, which I think is a fantastic field? How can we help you get into human resources? First, what are the opportunities in the environment that you're in right now? It sounds like you're actually in a really solid environment and you're in your mid career. So, if you guys remember what I was saying earlier about your mid career, that at this stage, what you're prioritizing is learning, earning, and meaning. You're earning well, but you also want to have meaningful contributions to the things that you do. So that's the struggle that you're having right now. How can you start as small as possible? In the place that you are in, is there an opportunity to switch? Is there an opportunity to explore things? Because this reminds me of a colleague, coincidentally, his name is Ayo, an old colleague from PwC days. We were all management consultants. We were all just working on a variety of different projects. And at the time, the data analytics department was in a completely different, what we call line of service. So we were in consulting, data analytics was in audit at the time because data had to do with auditing things. So it was not in consulting. But Ayo was keen on exploring data analytics, and he started to think about moving. But that meant leaving consulting as a unit and moving into a completely different unit. In fact, we're not even in the same building. That's how different his life, so to say, was going to be. Today, this was what, 8 years, 9 years ago. Ayo is a director right now, one of the top securities firm in Nigeria. I'm basically just sharing all of that to say I'm basically sharing all of that to say sometimes moving doesn't look like switching jobs completely, like changing where you currently work. What about the opportunities where you are at? If you spoke to HR and you asked them, please, oh, can I assist you people on so and so and so? Because my friend, human resources is broad though. There's talent management, there's talent acquisition, there's learning and development, there is I don't know, business partner, something, something, and they all look different at different companies. So if you started to, wet your feet into it a little bit where you are, you might eventually figure out what you like and don't like and help you position. And this story about you doing so well in asset management becomes the story that you tell yourself when you're leaving. If someone sees your CV and then says to themselves, why are you moving from asset management to HR? You will explain because you've already done it before and you're telling them like, look, I did this with this and achieved this. Imagine what I'm going to do with this that I absolutely love. So give yourself room to grow even where you are at. Like that my friend Ayo, he did not move out from PwC. He stayed in PwC for another 2 years, got his skills before he then ventured outwards, right? I think he even still went back to PwC, became a manager at PwC before moving out again. So don't be afraid of reinventing yourself, is basically the thing I'm going to say here. And give yourself permission to be all that you can be, because ultimately that would give you the highest amount of fulfillment and satisfaction. I like that you're already well paid as well, which means that if this thing comes with a pay cut, you can probably handle it or you can navigate how you want to do it. So maybe it's a case of when you talk to HR and you ask them, if I want to do this, what will it take? If I assist you people and they say, oh, you're going to have to blah, 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 then you know, okay, maybe in 6 months I would have saved up something of that nature. I know it's not all smooth sailing and it's not like straightforward, but what I'll just challenge you to do is one, give yourself permission to reinvent your career. Two, find opportunities where you already are at. Sounds like you're in a great work environment. So I want you to take advantage of that and start to see the opportunities where you could contribute even where you are right now. And then three, ultimately just like take a step forward. Once you start working on things, you know exactly what part of human resource management that you want to work in. And then ultimately all the things around like certifications or doing stuff, you'd be able to figure it out as quickly as possible. Now for focus. Um, you don't like what you do, you don't know what you want to do. Again, like you remind me of a client of mine, Ozzy. So Ozzy was in audit. She did consulting like me as well. So her conversation to me was basically, hey, I can relate to all of the things that you've done. But I'm now at this stage where I've done the consulting, but I'm not enjoying it. And I don't know what else I want to do with myself. Every single one of us, we have these dreams. You know, when we started out, I asked you guys, what do you want to do? Right? We have these dreams and these desires with things that we want to do. Sometimes we're not sure if we can actually make a career out of it or make a living out of it. And so when we try to fit ourselves into the typical 95 box, we can often feel this tug and this, dissatisfaction in our spirit. And remember, if anyone remembers anything, all I'm basically saying here is please pay attention. Pay attention to how you're feeling. Pay attention to what your gut is telling you. Pay attention to your instincts because they make all the difference in the world. Here's what you're going to do. Go back into your notes. I'm hoping that you journal or you write notes or you write these things out. Go back into things that you have written out in the past about stuff that you want to do, stuff that you want to try out, stuff that if you had nothing to be afraid of, you would try out and start to explore those things because that's exactly what Ozzy did. Like you, she wanted to teach, work with children, um, build something, write. She was into poetry. When she finally decided to let herself be, she finally put pen to paper and wrote a book. That book is doing very well now. A month before she released the book, she quit the job. She stopped being afraid of like telling her parents and getting them into, because these are also things that we honestly have to deal with. And then she launched her lifestyle brand. So now she like does t-shirts, she gift boxes, things like that. They're bringing her joy, and she's worked with children as well. She's organized like events to go speak with kids at public schools on self-esteem, whatnot and whatnot. So your next phase might not necessarily be a job, is what I'm trying to say. Like it might not be a 9 to 5 job, but it might be because you are actually not seeing enough representation around you. So I want you to just kind of dig into what are the things that make you happy. It doesn't matter if it's not a 9 to 5, you can do those things. All the people that we see today, like the big musicians and whatnot, it's not really a 9 to 5 per se, but they're making a living out of it. So even if that's the only representation that you can have, just remember that your dream life is possible and it's out there and you can actually achieve it. And for Deborah, so there's not really a question in there. So I'm still trying to figure out how to navigate this one. I think one of the things I wrote here was you can't be afraid to reinvent yourself, and I've probably said that already. If you love teaching on soft skills and things like that, I think you're putting too much pressure on yourself, whether or not you should continue with this company or whether you should not. You are the one that knows you started a company. Before you told me, before you came on this call, I did not know. So that should give you a sense of how many people really know. And what does it matter? We all knew Rihanna was singing. She said she's not singing again. No matter what you people say on Twitter, Rihanna, give us an album. Rihanna, do this. Madam is very focused on building Fenty Beauty. Because again, it's about you. It's not about anybody else. That you've built an L&D company and that you don't want to continue with it, it's absolutely fine. If you didn't tell any of us on this call, we will not have known. So it's not as if you've built Microsoft yet. Why are you worried about stopping it? What is the like I don't get it just yet. But if you want to go all out, by all means, please do it. So there's no need to like don't hold yourself to your own shackles. Basically, you are allowed to reinvent yourself as many times over as possible. If you've built it and it didn't work out, fine. Then you learn a lesson from there. You know that next time, instead of delving straight into registering a company, maybe you build it first for 3 years and you figure out, do I really like this thing or not? And you go from there. Because I've been there as well. I started a non-profit when I was 25. I did not ask permission from anybody. I didn't even understand what it meant to run a non-profit. But I started. When I started career coaching, I didn't start out with registering it as a company. I started out with, okay, am I going to get customers? Are there people who need this? Is there that? Is there a market? I started with understanding even the industry that I'm trying to operate in first before now deciding to incorporate as a company. So everything that you do, I always think about it as just like feedback, data that can plug into helping you make decisions better later on. So please don't hold yourself back because you think you started something and then you now have to go for it. No, 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 no. There are many people who have reinvented their careers over and over and over and over again. That you started something doesn't mean you have to stay with it. And in closing, as you were talking, I remember a particular woman who recently closed like a beauty brand that she had, which was doing well. Like she would meet people that would literally tell her, "This is the first foundation that has my shade." Because she's my son likes to say I'm brown, but like there's some people that they are even like darker shades of brown. So she was really building for the darker shades that typical big brand companies will not build for. But she finally came to the conclusion early this year that she couldn't continue with it. The company is called Amicole. So she shut it down and she shared why she was doing that. And many people could resonate with that story because one, many people are also carrying things they don't need to be carrying just because they want to continue. It's about you. Ultimately, you're simply experimenting. If you decide, you know what, I don't want to run this for this whole year, it's fine. It's all up to you. Today, long story short, She's now recently joined Kim Kardashian's company to help do something else. But if she didn't put out that story, if she didn't share, if she didn't decide to make that seemingly unpopular decision, she'll just be struggling. And by struggling, we mean there's no cash flow coming in the business, or she's even making revenue, but she's not making any profit. So, all of those things she had to start reconsidering. And ultimately, she's better for it. So, please, Deborah, decide what you want to do and don't let the fact that you've run something or you have something hold you back.
Okay. Wamide, we have a few questions in the chat. Do you want me to read them out or? Okay, so the first one is from Fidelis Okoli. It says, I have a challenge. I have never worked in my life. I've never applied for a job. I was surviving on fraudulent activities, lost a lot of interest in this. Now I'm almost 30. I don't know where to start from because I have to start the fraudulent act. I need to start earning, I think, earning right. So that's the first question from Fidelis. The second question is from Naomi. Says, hi, I'm Naomi. I've been working in finance for roughly 2 years. I work as a data analyst. I love my job role, but banking isn't known for its flexibility. And aside that, it's becoming monotonous, and I'm wired in a way that if it's not challenging, I begin to lose interest, which led me to chasing my MBA. But I have no time. The job takes so much of my time, and I just end up burnt out, which leads to frustration. My question is more around how to find balance in a sector that knows to not have it. That's the second question. The third question is from Oseo. My question is, let me get there. Okay. Oseo says, so I'm an early career professional with a background in accounting. I don't enjoy accounting. I have tried a few things from accounting to wealth management to program management to operations. However, I finally just discovered that I want to work in the development sector, SDGs. One of the results of that is that I've recently been consulting for SMEs to scale their businesses for greater impact. Now I'm trying to figure out how exactly I can pack this into the transition. I've been applying to a few places to no avail. I've been in between jobs for a while, by the way. I know I have some important skills to not start from scratch, but my transition has not been proven smooth so far. So these are the three questions in the chat, and I would like you to answer them. Or they would like you even more than me to answer them.
Abio. Okay, thanks for reading and thank you all for sending your questions. However vulnerable they were. So with Fidelix, you've never worked before and you don't know where to start from because you want to start earning legally. Um the core thing I would then ask is like, do you have a degree already? Are there any industries that pique your interest? Is there anything that you think you want to try out or do? Because that's kind of where you should start from. Think about it this way. If you were hungry, the next thing that you need to do is eat, right? But the core thing you would need to then do is what to eat. It could be bread, it could be rice, it could be meat, it could be gari. Ultimately, your goal is to subside that hunger. So that's how I want you to think about it. You want to start earning. What can you do? What are you already interested in at the moment? Doesn't matter if you've never worked in your life before. I don't think if there's anything I would also ask you guys to take away from this, it is please don't always start from the thing that you don't have. Don't always focus on the gap because when you do that, you already come from a place of I'm already dejected. I don't think I can do this, right? So please always remind yourself that you already have something, however little, you already have something. So, Fidelix, what can you do? Even those fraudulent activities that you talked about, what did you do at that time? Because who knows? Maybe there's an operational skills that you used in there. Maybe there's an analytic skill that you used in there, right? So what can you do is where I'll ask you to start from. Not just like where can I start from, just like what can I do right now? I can talk, I can write, I can teach, I can help you arrange, I can help you organize. Start from those basic skills and you go from there. Maybe what you should do is do the SWOT analysis that I talked about, because there are also a lot of questions in there that will tell you, that would prompt you to reflect on the things that you can already do. I'll put a short link in the chat so that anybody who wants to check it out can go do that as well. Um, I'll go to the second question from Naomi. For Naomi, you say you've been working in finance for 2 years. You're a data analyst, but you don't want to do banking. You started chasing your MBA. What I can't tell from here is, one, have you started your MBA or is it still like considering to start? Two, if you've already started, like, do you think right now you want to consider doing an MBA full time, or is it still a part time program you want to do? And then three, have you considered moving industries? Because data analysis is not only for the bank, there are other industries that need data analysts as well. So your question around like how to find balance is not by remaining in the sector, it's by moving away from the sector. It's not by staying in there. So you need to consider like other sectors that you want to work in to move away from there. Think about it. If you're outside and it's cold, you don't start by asking, how can I find heat? You go and look for where there's heat, which means you leave the cold. It's not just by wearing more clothes or shaking in the cold. You actually go to somewhere there's a fireplace and go and find heat in there. So finding balance is not by remaining in that sector, it's by leaving it. I left consulting because it was intense and demanding. That is how you find balance. You start to say, okay, let me move to somewhere. So instead of working in consulting, at least at my time, I was working like 4 jobs. We are working with 4 different clients. So I want to go from working with 4 different clients to working with just one client, which is now like being internal rather than working with client A, client B, client C, that sort of thing. So where are the other places that you can work at? What are the other sectors? Oh, maybe you joined banking because that was what was available, but now you've built certain skills and you can definitely move. Even by moving to fintech alone, not just like banking. I want to believe banking is like traditional bank, that's what you mean. But you can also consider fintech, a piggyvest, a grey finance, all of those other places. You can consider those. I don't know if there are any additional questions to these things I've answered. So, like, feel free to raise your hand again or just share it in the chat. But I'll check Oshioyemi's question. So you've tried different things. You want to work in the development sector, and you've been recently consulting for SMEs to scale their businesses for greater impact. That's interesting. Now you want to figure out how exactly you can pack this into your transition. So my question here would be like, what exactly do you do? Like, so what do you describe yourself as? Um, are you just like an SME consultant? Is that all that it is? Because you don't have to like completely switch at this time. There's so much value in recognizing that you can stack skills and you can build skills up as you navigate things. So instead of putting yourself under the pressure of, I need to quickly either maybe like start a company or be termed as a consultant, I would say like just continue to build skills in this area and find a name. Um, I see you saying you where you want to work. I see you saying what you're doing, but I'm not hearing or seeing how you define yourself. And I think that that might be the gap because, and I don't know what it's called. So maybe you're a program manager, or maybe you're an SME consultant. You see how vague that is? So I just want you to like find a title for yourself, so to say. Um, yeah, it could be program manager that you want to consider and something, and I think that would be helpful. But I don't think you've stayed long enough to be worried so much about transitioning. Maybe it's because you're typing. I feel like I don't have enough context, but is it that you are not working somewhere right now and you've just been consulting for SMEs? Because even when we asked like what is something you would love to do, that's also something that you said. Like supporting SMEs to scale structurally, and there are quite a number of ways to do that. Um, you could be working as a core consultant at a company that is focused on these people, like you already are doing. But the danger with just like calling yourself just a consultant is sometimes you can be termed as like a jack of all trades, which is not a problem in itself, but it's just depending on where exactly you want this to go. So what I would just say is, can you find one or two people? Okay, so can you find one or two people in this space that already do what you do and that you admire? Maybe you don't even admire them, but like find one or two people in the space that already do what you do and think about how they define themselves. It could be one core thing that you do. For example, why can't you be a business process or business transformation analyst? You get, or I don't know what was in my head. Something around business process was what I was trying to say. That could be something as well that you consider. So please find a title that will be defining. Think about it in terms of what you actually do. You could also just define yourself as like a growth operator or yeah, growth operator. And then when you're defining it's like helping SMEs scale from this to that. And that's another thing. Scale structurally sounds good on paper, but it doesn't really mean anything. So what exactly are you scaling? Is it their revenue? Is it their operations? Is it their teams? There are many parts. So what is it exactly that you are doing? I think that's what you should focus on, and you'd naturally be able to drop the title from it. Don't worry, I've changed my LinkedIn title 101 times, so it's not so much so about that. As you continue to do it, you'll just figure out what works for you. So don't put too much pressure on yourself. Let me put it that way. But ultimately, pay attention to what is it that I've been able to replicate many times over with these SMEs. For example, how many SMEs have you actually worked with? You want to go from just being called a consultant for the sake of it to being an expert. And being an expert is also shown in the number of successes that you're able to repeat. So, how many SMEs have you worked with? If you haven't worked with enough, if you want to challenge yourself next year and say, I want to work with 100 SMEs and help them, I don't know, build high performing teams, that's a way to scale. Or I want to help them find or create repeatable revenue. That's another form of scaling. Or I want to help them cut down their costs. That's another form of scaling. So I hope that helps you like just go back internally and really say, what is it that I'm helping people do? Um, Back to an example for myself is when I started coaching, I didn't actually start with career coaching. I started with business coaching. So I was helping SMEs as well, just bring structure into their business and things like that. But over time, because I didn't do this by myself, like I was working with a particular program and they would just assign people to me based on where they were. Over a particular time, I realized like the core thing I was really, really interested in was just that mindset shift and the transformation. It wasn't so much so about your business. And by the time I started sharing my own career stories and career journey, people were resonating with that and started to ask more questions, some like this on here, but then I started to offer one on ones as well. So, all of that is just to say that try to recognize the thing that you are actually doing in the SME because being clear about what exactly you do is so much better and will help you find more of the people that need it. So Naomi, you wrote back and you said you started your MBA. Banking was what was available. Yeah, the struggle is moving. Is your self-taught? Oh, we're here with the mindsets again. It doesn't matter if you're self-taught, my friend. What does that have to do with anything? My brother is a self-taught driver. I went to driving school twice, and then had my parents teach me and they could not teach me, so I had to go to driving school. And then I could not remember anything, and then went to another driving school again. Eventually, it was one of my uncle's drivers that taught me. In 3 months, I was good. My brother, on the other hand, younger brother, was sitting behind when they were teaching me. Did not go to any driving school, but he can drive. Is he going to paste it on his head that I'm self taught? Am I going to paste it on my head that I went to driving school? My brothers and sisters, please, let's stop holding ourselves back with what we cannot do or how we came in here. Focus on the thing that you can do. Can you do the job? Are you good in your job as a data analyst? If you are, that's all that matters. Don't let being self taught hold you back. In fact, that is your story. That is the thing that stands you out. That is the advantage that you have. It's true now. That is the advantage that you have. When I was busy struggling as a consultant, wondering where my life was going, I went for an event. And there, I met somebody who had studied, was it law or psychology in uni? But in 4 years, she had become a Google developer expert. Me, on the other hand, I studied computer engineering. I finished with a first class. I started my first job as a front end developer. Yet, I was nowhere near Google. I could not even figure out what I was doing. In hindsight, I was not interested in engineering. I just did not know. So I was struggling to make it happen. But all of that is just to say there was somebody else who, although had a completely different path from me, as long as there was an interest in it, taught herself, rose up the ranks, and became one of the first female Google developer experts. So, no, I'm still in the call. Okay, give me 5 minutes. 5 minutes. So anyway, with these few points of mine, I hope I've been able to um, convince you that you already have everything that you need to get to where you want to be. And if you don't have it, you can always get it. Doesn't matter whether you are self-taught or whether you went to uni for it. Ultimately, the thing that is most important here is, do I want to do this? Am I interested in doing this? And finding what you need to get there, and hopefully finding a community as well. I actually do have a community. I'll share all of this in the um, post session email that you can join, and we can just support each other as we navigate all of these things. So yeah, let's see, do we still have any questions? I hope that has been helpful for you. I know a couple people here haven't asked any question. Margaret, Toluyemi, Martina, Claire, do you have any questions before we wrap this up?
Thank you so much. I'm Martina, by the way. So I really resonate with everything that has been said on this call, and I actually got my own clarity. But still, yet I still want to put it out there because at least you are still on the call. So thank you so much, ma'am. I'm a graduate of mechanical engineering, and I've been working in the engineering space for like let's say 2 years now, but 1 year in project management. So I've realized that I do not lean towards the technical side, which is I'm not someone who is hands-on. I'm more like someone who wants to just be in the background, like coordinating anything management. So that's what I really want to do. But I've realized that project management in engineering requires you to be hands-on. So how do I leverage myself, or which kind of industry can I position myself in? Or do I still have to work in that project management space or go for another kind of um job role entirely? Yeah, that's my question.
I'm just waiting to see if anybody else has any other questions. Okay, Margaret says no question. I want to believe Claire is the same. And Tuluyemi. Okay, I'll take that as no question. So Martina, I think the core thing here is if you still like project management, there are tons of other industries. Engineering project management is not the only thing that you have to do. You can find tech sectors that are interested in this. Most times it's non engineering focused. So, and there are other industries as well that need project managers. Generally, there are some skill sets that can be applied across any field. Project management is one of it. Data analytics is one of it because whether you are in manufacturing or whether you are in, somewhere else, you always need to move things from point A to point B, and you always want to see insight on the things that you're doing. So I would say that you consider other sectors, and it's even much easier. I think transitioning within sectors is far easier than like changing jobs completely. So try to overcome the mindset blocks that you have and just look through what already exists out there, or even companies that you like. Sometimes even the apps that we have on our phones, or the companies or products or services that we use on a day-to-day basis, are helpful in helping us figure out, hey, what does this company do, and just get some exposure into what other sectors are out there. So if you're not enjoying like engineering right now, consider other industries that you can try out and just figure out how to get there. Positioning, landing jobs, CV, all of that is a whole different conversation. But my goal here was to just help everybody get over one, like the mindset blocks that we have when it comes to transitioning, in seeing that pivoting, yes, is courageous. Yes, it is not like a walk in the park, but ultimately to remind you all that you are not starting from scratch, and that you should stop like undermining all the things that you've done, the experience that you've already created or gotten yourself into. And I think we should just give ourselves group hugs for being, should I say, like Nigerian and having to navigate the beautiful educational space. It has not been as straightforward. You study something and you have to work somewhere else just because you need to start, right? But ultimately, I wanted to take a moment to just remind you all that you don't have to be stuck in there. You don't have to stay there, especially if you're not finding happiness in it. So in terms of gaining clarity, even when things feel uncertain, the core thing is like having your own why that serves as your North Star, or what I like to call a compass, that helps you just figure out why you're doing this in the first place. And sometimes you might not have all the answers immediately, and that's okay. But what makes the difference between where you are right now and where you want to go is just taking a tiny step, however little, taking one small step. That conversation you have here, that network, that event that you go to, even showing up on this kind of call and being comfortable to ask these questions, they're all getting you to where you want to be, and your future self will ultimately thank you for it. Yeah, at the end of the day, we spend a good chunk of our time at work, and what we want is to be able to build, an aligned life, and to build a meaningful career at the end of the day. So if you're feeling a certain way, like I've said over and over, please just continue to pay attention why you're feeling the way that you're feeling, and try to start writing these things down. It makes a ton of difference when you can put on pen and on paper the things that you are feeling. And like I said, you may not have complete clarity right now, but that's okay. By clarity, I just mean like, okay, what do I do next, or where do I go next? It might not seem like nothing is happening, but it's all building up together. There are things I've written as far back as 2019, as far back as 2017. I look at it now and I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing all of these things already. And that's just to show you the power of writing these things down, because finally you see those things and remember that you were not foolish ultimately, and it's not like you did not know what you were trying to do, and like you are absolutely not out of place. So in wrapping up, I'll share one of those with you where a long time ago I felt like, oh my god, I don't know what I should be doing, even though it seemed like I was in quotes a career that I was supposed to be enjoying. So let me share that. And this is me. Give me a moment, Josh. Please don't come. This is me in, I don't know if you can all see this, and I don't even know how to zoom as well as I should. This is me in 2015. I was really uncertain about like my career path. So a good chunk of people who ask questions here in their early career, and that's why I wanted to share this. And this Mr. James was a friend of my dad. So you can see also this person is like way older than me. They didn't even know how to navigate this. Please give me a minute. Let me attend to my toddler, but please keep reading. Okay, so I'm back. If you read this, I'm basically saying I want to remain in tech. At the time, I was calling this information technology. I want to try out my hands on programming. I had left front end development at this time, but my major weakness is self coordination. I like to consult because I like to share knowledge. I'm not yet sure I can do this, blah, 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 blah. But at this point, I actually started my career at PwC in audit, not consulting. So I'd appreciate if you can guide me through, blah, 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 blah. This was me just talking out loud about the things I was dealing with. And that's what I always mean by putting them to paper. And in many, many, many years after this, I'm in tech, I've consulted, and it turns out my weakness is actually not self coordination. So sometimes we're not even appraising ourselves very well. We're thinking of certain things, but it's also just to just tell you, like, you're not alone. That's the core thing I'm trying to establish here. You're not alone. And I want you to start dealing with those feelings, because the more you start to put names to them, you start to really see them for what they are. So I'll stop here and hope that with these few points of mine, you've all found some depth of clarity here today. You've all figured out how to navigate these things better. And like ultimately, you can leave here with clarity on, at least I know exactly what to do. So when we started out, a couple people said like, hey, I'm feeling confused, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that. So how are you feeling now? What exactly would you say you are feeling? Because you've all done something like truly amazing today. So I just want to get a sense of where your headspace is at. How are we feeling? You feel better? You've gotten clarity? Love it. You feel less pressured? Love it. Okay. Okay. You're ready to start from where you are at. Yes, that's the spirit. That is the spirit. Okay, so like I said, my hope today is that you'll have a sense of exactly a sense of direction, a sense of clarity, a sense of just like how to go from step A to step B. Some of you are going all the way to Z, but I don't want you to like fly there. I just want you to take one step after the other and get there. I'll send all of these resources to you, maybe not the slide, but I'll share with you the recording. I'll also share with you the link to my SWOT workbook as well as the community, and hoping that this time next year in 2026, you will all have made immense progress with your careers. And if there's anyone who's still like open to having a deeper conversation through a one-on-one, I'd be more than happy to help you through it. My ultimate goal is to help and see everyone thrive meaningfully in their careers. So thank you all for staying with me. This is the last one for the year, and I can finally rest. So thank you all, and yeah, awesome. I'm glad you've all found some clarity. Love it.
Okay, guys, I think that's the roundup for today. For the day and for the year. You can follow one day across socials. LinkedIn, she's very active there. Twitter is where she has fun. Follow her there too. And Instagram, she started creating a lot of videos lately. You all should check out some of our fit boxing classes there. So you guys, you have fun on Instagram with Wamide. Yeah. Apart from that, then yeah, she has a newsletter that goes out every Monday by 9:30 a.m. Watts. So you can also subscribe to that. You receive all this information in the email that is coming out very shortly. And yeah, thank you once again